Hello, I'm Valerie Spevacek, and you're watching People in Perspective. Today with me is Marie Kittler, a video producer and editor. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
What is a video producer and editor?
Well, I make videos is the simplest answer, I guess. So as a producer, I oversee the production of a video project. So a lot of times I'm involved with the creation from the start, meeting with the clients, figuring out like what do they want, all the way through production. So what do I need to make that video happen? And then seeing the post-production aspect. And so that's when, you know, you're taking all these different pieces and you're creating that final product for them. So that's basically what I do.
What got you into video producing and editing?
Yeah, so when I was in junior high, we had to take, random electives, and one of the electives I took was like a general media class, and I didn't know what I was signing up for, and it was super basic, basically shooting, videos on your iPhone and then editing with iMovie. But I fell in love with it. So when it came time to pick a high school, I was originally going to go to a private high school. And I toured RB and saw RBTV, which is actually where we're at, and I fell in love and it was a done deal. And so then I was in RBTV for my full 4 years of high school, and I went on to get a degree in television production, and now I'm working in the industry, so.
Cool. I see you brought a camera with you.
I did, yeah. So I use a lot of different cameras, but this is my Canon 5D Mark III. And so it does video and photo. And this was actually the first camera I bought when I got out of school. When I graduated college, it was time to look for a job. And I kept track, and I applied to about 300 jobs before I finally got hired. And in the midst of that, I had to make a decision. I was like, okay, I'm applying to all these jobs and nothing's happening. Like, I need to do something. And so I decided to buy my own camera, and this put me back a lot. It was a big purchase for being right out of college, but I think it ultimately led to me getting a job. So that's why I love it, and I don't use it as much as I did in the beginning because now I have other cameras and I use other stuff. But it was great because I was able to do video and then do photo and, ideally create a portfolio with that. So yeah, that's my first camera, so it's held up. So yeah.
What was one of the first things you shot with it?
So one of the first things I shot was for an organization in the area here called LADSI, and they wanted like a promo video. And so they said, can you make this video for us? And I was like, yes, let's do this. So this was literally like day 2 of having the camera at home and like putting the battery in, and that was literally the first thing I shot. And it's probably one of my favorite videos I've ever produced and shot and edited. It just, for using this camera for the first time, it turned out really great, so, yeah.
So what do you usually produce?
So full-time, I work for a marketing firm, and I'm a video producer there. And in my spare time, I'm a freelancer. And so at the marketing firm, a lot of the work is commercial-based. A lot of promotional pieces for different companies and organizations. And so occasionally there's a documentary or something else that comes through, but a lot of it's commercial and promotional work. Freelance-wise, it can be anything, honestly. I've had, same thing, commercials and promotional pieces, but I've had live events and more like personal stories and, documentaries and shorter pieces, more artistic pieces. So honestly, every day is different, and every video project that crosses my path is different, so it's great.
Okay. What is the process you go through to produce a video?
Yeah, so if someone has to reach out a lot of times, and have a need for a video. And so, you know, you meet with the client and figure out, okay, what are your needs? What are your wants? A lot of times there's a brainstorming session, so show me examples of things that you like or you have in mind for your own piece, and kind of map out what the video or end product could look like. And so from there, I decide or figure out what I need. If I need a voiceover talent, I usually put out a casting call and I go through an audition process with different people. If I need talent, same thing. I put out a casting call and work with an agency to figure out who I need. If I need a certain location, there's location scouts. I'm working on a project right now where we had to get a set dresser, so somebody that could make a room look like a dorm room, a hospital, places like that. And so once you get all that figured out, you have to get a crew. And so how many camera operators do I need? You know, what type of equipment, how many days of shooting? There's a lot of planning that goes into the actual production. And then comes the actual day of shooting it. So sometimes you can get it all in on one day. Other times it takes multiple days and multiple sessions. So then you shoot it. And usually I'm there to oversee that, making sure that we're capturing everything we need, and then going into post. So myself or somebody else will then piece it together, and just making sure you have all the pieces, doing audio editing, graphics, music, color correction, all those pieces, and bringing it together. And then it usually goes through a review process. So the client sees it a couple times, provides feedback, you go back and forth a little bit, and then the final product, you deliver the final product to them, and then they take it and put it wherever they want it to be, or you know, their website or social media, that type of thing. So it's a long process, but you know, every piece has its purpose. So yeah.
Which part do you find you like the best?
Oh gosh. I mean, honestly, doing like casting calls and stuff is a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of different people, and you can really fine tune a piece, you know, and you don't realize how many different, you know, actors and actresses there are out there, or even voice types, you know. So like in a process, it's like, do I need a child voice? Do I need a young adult? Do I need, you know, just an adult? Do I need a senior voice? Like there's all these little pieces that you don't realize until you're having to like search for these people. And so that's a lot of fun, is doing casting calls for stuff like that. So
how stressful is it, especially in post-production and production?
Honestly, the most stressful point is probably you know, tight turnarounds. So I recently had a piece that was one of the towns nearby had a tree lighting ceremony, and so it happened on a Friday night, and they wanted a video of it ready to go on their cable channel Saturday morning. So that meant I had to go out there, shoot everything I need, make sure it turned out right, because I only had one chance, and go home and piece it together and have it ready and deliver it to them so they had it Saturday morning. So it's tight turnarounds like that are super stressful, and I have to, at that point, it affects what I'm doing like in my personal life and other jobs that I might be working on at the same time. So it's kind of a balancing act with schedules. So
how has COVID affected how you work?
Yeah, so at the start of COVID, like in March and April, there was like a complete dip. Like everything stopped, everything dried up. But then as the summer happened and people started to realize, okay, like I had a live event planned, you know, and now we can't do it. People resorted to video and were like, you know, can you help us? We want to do this virtually. And so it's just booming now. Like my freelance work at the marketing firm, everywhere, like we are slammed with work, which is really great. That's really good. So, but also it changed how we do production. So a lot of times on these shoots, you know, you'd have like 20 some people, everything from the talent and the crew and the client and people from from my organization and then the client's organization. So there's all these people there. And now it's a skeleton crew. So something that used to have 20 people there, now you've got a camera operator, maybe 2 other crew people, the talent, and 1 person from, the company that's, doing the production. And that's it. And so we have now the client on a Zoom call sitting in. And that's something that probably won't change after COVID goes away. It saves a lot of money. You don't have to pay for clients to travel and, providing food and all this stuff at the shoot. So it's different, but it's probably going to stay like that. So, and there's just other things, like sanitizing equipment and taking precautions like wearing masks and social distancing and stuff that we have to think in advance now. So we can still shoot and we can still do productions, but there's some extra steps we have to take. So.
Well, that concludes our interview. Thank you for coming. That was People in Perspective, and I'm Valerie Spevacek.